Alright, just quickly going back to section 4.3, example 2. I want to do this a little bit different way, and then I'm going to go over homework question number 8. Alright, so we already know we don't need to worry about the vertical change here, because that changes y, not x, which is domain. So normally our arc cosine of x would be from -1 to 1, right? Or if we do that in set notation, it would be -1 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 1. But that's when we have x in the argument, correct? So for this particular problem, we have x over 5 in the argument. So let's change this to arc cosine of x over 5. The domain would then be -1 is less than or equal to x over 5, which is less than or equal to 1, right? So then we solve this by cross multiplying that 5 on both sides. And so -1 times 5 is -5, and x over 5 times 5 is just x. And then 1 times 5 is 5, so we just multiply the whole thing through by 5. And that gives us the domain that we found in class when we just kind of thought through it logically. But we did this just now in a more algorithmic way. You know, there's like a specified step to follow to get that. That's going to be easier for this problem. So let's go ahead and think about cosine, again, is normally domain from -1 to 1, right? But instead of having just x in our argument, we have this 3x minus 1 over 2 in our argument. So I'm going to rewrite this as -1 is less than or equal to 3x minus 1 over 2, which is less than or equal to 1. So now this is my inequality that I'm going to solve. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply everything by 2 over 1. So that would give me -2 is less than or equal to 3x minus 1, which is less than or equal to 2. So I just multiplied everything by 2 to get rid of that fraction. Now I'm going to get rid of the minus 1 by adding 1 to everything. So solving this just like you would a normal equation, but it's this compound inequality. Okay, so adding 1, that gives us -1, and then 3 on this side, right? And then the last thing we're going to do is divide everything by 3, and then we'll have x by itself, and we will have our domain. So that will give us -1/3 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 1, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So here's the domain for this problem. We could also write it as -1/3, 1. Those are the values for x that can be plugged into this function and have it work, not be undefined. There's our domain.